Hello my beautiful butterflies, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Beverley and it is lovely to see you today. In this video we are going to be having a lovely cup of tea and talking about a great book that I've been reading called Earth Magic. So first things first, we need to talk about the tea. So today I am drinking Twining's Defence. This is with citrus and ginger, green tea and echinacea. It's cold and flu season. I'm just getting over a cold that wiped me out the second half of last week, which is why I wasn't here. But basically, yeah, I've got a little bit of an upset tummy, feeling a bit bleh, so curl up with a nice healing cup of tea. So this month I did something a little bit different because usually I read the book. I read it like this, like you know, a normal paper book. But I have found that I've had less time to read. I've been knitting and sewing, doing crafty things, really enjoying myself. And so I thought, why not try an audiobook? And I came across this book on another booktuber's reviews, like a witchy booktuber, and I will leave a link to that video down below. And they were talking about how wonderful it was, and if you've been watching this channel for a little while, you'll know that I've been learning recently about earth magic and working with the elements. And so I was like, oh my goodness, I must read this. So I have my trusty notes. I have been listening to this on audiobook, and it was really lovely because the author, who's called Starhawk, which I'm assuming is like a shamanic name rather than their birth name, but I don't know anything about this author. But it's the author who read the story, and I think that is always my favourite. When I can hear that person's voice reading those words, it just adds a little bit extra to it. So I really enjoyed that. I enjoyed hearing her talk about this passion of hers, which is earth magic. And she is part of a movement of witches, people who merge together environmentalism, politics and witchcraft all together in one. So this type of witchcraft it really came into being in like the 70s, when it was all about finding equality and fighting. And right now it seems to have had a resurgence of people getting into politics and getting really interested in the environment and things like that. And so that I found that really easy to connect into when she spoke about that, when she spoke about how we should as witches be connected and loving to the earth. But that also means standing up and being counted when it comes to votes that are going to put harm on this world, and what we buy and what we use, what we throw away. And I found that incredibly interesting. It's something that I've started to get into, and it really spoke to me. So this book's split into 4 parts, which made it really easy to listen to. Each part is audio, of course, and they're about an hour long, so you could listen to them all in one go if you want, but I kind of had bite-sized chunks over about a week. And I really enjoyed the fact that it was split into 4 parts. So the first part is about the history of magic, the history of witchcraft, how her political and witchcraft movement started, about how shamanism and witchcraft are kind of the same thing, and how one bled into the other and they're kind of the same thing, which is something that really blew my mind. Because I don't know, when people talk about shamanism and witchcraft, there seem to be 2 different camps. And I have spoken to some people who call themselves a witch and said, like, oh, are you into shamanism as well? And they don't know what I'm talking about. It's like they've never heard of it. And so I don't know why that is, but it seems like we're on the same track. I really enjoyed hearing about the history and where it comes from. I love hearing about, well, you can tell by the way I dress, the way I decorate my home. I love being in the past. I think we're very much missing out on things these days. But I really found this interesting. I love delving into so much history and just finding out from this woman who's practiced for so many years where she comes from and where witchcraft comes from. Parts 2 and 3 are pretty similar. How to apply earth magic and elemental magic into your day-to-day life, explaining how to use it in your day-to-day life, that sort of thing. And I love the fact that with elemental magic, you have everything you need in your garden or in a wood, or if you go out for a walk somewhere, it's right there. You haven't got to buy things, you haven't got to do things, it's just right there. And I find that so great, because I think there's a lot of pressure to have that kind of witchy aesthetic. And not everybody has the money to buy these witchy things, and it's great if you do, but I love that you don't need those things to work with the wind or to work with the earth. You know, it's really great. I really found it interesting. She talked about the Gaia theory, which is kind of like the earth is a natural living organism. And she spoke about how it kind of mixes together evolution and science and witchcraft and folklore. It really spoke to me, and I found it so interesting. I'm definitely going to be looking into that more, so if you want to hear more about Gaia theory, let me know down in the comments. I always take on board what you say, and I will be happy to share my findings out, what I read about it and what I learn about it. But I found it so interesting, the Gaia theory. It was so cool. I also found it interesting when she spoke of shamanism and witchcraft kind of going hand in hand. If you've been on this channel for a while, you'll know that I am heavily interested in shamanism and taking journeys, as well as spells and things like that. And putting those two things together in earth magic just really speaks to me. I think that's why I'm so drawn to it, so drawn to working with the elements, is because it's where the two come together, and I found that incredibly cool. As I was listening to it, I was just like, oh my gosh, of course, that's why I like this. Of course, that's why I'm drawn to this. It's funny because when you start out on this journey, spiritual journey, witchy journey, whatever it is, you start out kind of being influenced by the people around you, and then you start learning a bit more, and you start realizing just how much information and stuff to learn there is out there, and it's a little bit overwhelming. But then you'll naturally find that you'll start looking at something, you'll be like, not really into that, I've tried that but it doesn't really speak to me, and you'll naturally kind of find your path. So I would definitely say, if you're a beginner baby witch like me, don't be putting labels on yourself. There is a great pressure to say, oh, I'm a hearth witch, I'm a crystal witch, I'm a fairy witch, whatever. But I think we are too hung up on labels in our society, and I think we can get very lost in that whole put a label on it. But yeah, just kind of be patient with yourself, look into things, something that you're naturally interested in, just have a little look. There is nothing wrong with trying something out and then finding out it doesn't quite fit with what you're going for, doesn't really fit with your ideals, and then going down a different path. I mean, when I first started, I was so into crystals. I bought so many crystals. My Instagram was just crystals. And then I started to learn about how badly the people who mine these crystals are treated. And then I started learning about how countries are being, wiped out of all their crystals, and they're being paid pittance. It's basically slave labour. And then it's coming back to this whole thing that she was talking about in the first one. The first part was about, standing up for what you believe in. And so I stopped buying crystals, and now I kind of collect stones as I'm out and about walking this great earth. Which kind of settles with me ethically more. And and led me back to earth magic again, working with stones. So I think we all just find our way, so don't put too much pressure on yourself would be a big thing, I would say. And then she was talking about how we need to make a little ritual for ourselves, and it needs to be simple. It needs to be something that you can do every single day that brings you close to the earth, and that can be going out into your garden and sitting with your feet on the grass and just kind of grounding yourself into the moment. It can be, I know there's a lot of people who use like their morning cup of tea or coffee to like make a manifestation for themselves for the day with their coffee or tea for the day. So they will like say, I am happy today, and then they will stir their tea 3 times towards themselves to make it come to them. And I love little simple things like that. And I think a lot of the times I thought I had to have this big, you know, I'm sitting in front of an altar and there's candles and there's cauldrons and there's spell thing, and yeah, that's great. Now and again, that's great. If you have a specific spell that you need to do, fabulous, go for it, why not? But I think when you're starting out especially, even if it's just like I pick a card for myself every day and I meditate, it can be as simple as that. But having little simple rituals that you put in place every single day is really going to help you build up those tools and skills that you need as you move forward. Part 4 was all about putting it into practice, and I really enjoyed this part. It was so cool. She had meditations, and there were, at the end there was like a long like shamanic journey with a drum where she took us through how the water cycle works. So you pictured yourself in a cave as a water droplet, and then you move up into the sky and then you'll rain down, and it was so beautiful. And I really got lost in the whole storytelling of it, and I think that's why in future I'm gonna do audiobooks of the books that I want to read, because quite a few witchy kind of books, spiritual books, have meditations in them. And I spoke about this before in previous reviews, but it annoyed me that it would be like, follow these steps, and it's written down. So I'm like, well, how can I do the meditation if it's written in the book? So I found that frustrating. But because you're doing the audiobook, you can sit and go through the meditation with her as she's reading the book. And I found that incredibly cool and really easy to use. It felt like it was just flowing really nicely. I could feel, I got used to her, the way she spoke. She's quite breathy and she has an American accent. But I really got used to it and really enjoyed listening to her take me through a meditation. And it's her, it's the person who wrote the meditation who is talking you through it, and I loved that so much. It was meditations, and it was really simple ways of bringing the earth, working with the elements into your everyday, and I just really enjoyed that. She spoke a lot about mindfulness, which, as you know, I absolutely love mindfulness. It's changed my life. So I really enjoyed that. I just got so much out of this chapter, and I would say that this is the chapter I'll probably come back to again and again and again, along with chapter 1, or part 1, because that was like the history, and I found that incredibly interesting. I really enjoyed this book. As a beginner, it really took me through so much about how I'm already doing these things. I've spoken about this in my own elemental magic videos, but it really spoke to me. I found it really cool. Find how much I'm already doing these things, and it really showed me that, yeah, I'm doing the right thing. I'm doing things correctly, and that was really nice. I don't have a lot of confidence in myself, and I often second guess myself or find that I'm too scared to do things or to try things. But this book really reinforced that what I'm doing already naturally is the right thing, and that was really nice to hear. I also love that she reinforced the fact that it's really cheap and easy to bring these things into your everyday. Whether you've got a garden or a local park or whatever you've got, you could be living anywhere, but you can bring these things into your life, even if you're in the middle of a city, and how cheaply you can work with these things. She did mention a couple of tools, but both times that she mentioned them, she definitely said, okay, but you don't need this, you can just use your finger instead of using this wand or whatever it was. And I found that really nice. It's nice to start following people and listening to people who aren't all about tools. And as I dive more into things, I'm definitely starting to see that the things that I have and I've bought and thrifted, they're really cool to have, but I don't use them as often as I thought I would. So yeah, if you're thinking I don't have the money for all those tools, you don't need it. The only downside I would say is because of the time of year I am listening to this book, and that is a lot of the times with the meditation. She would say, listen to this meditation and then go out into your garden and do the thing that I'm telling you to do, which is fine, you know, but at the moment England has been battered by storm after storm. It's really windy and really cold, so I wasn't able to get out and to commune with a tree or to sit and meditate with my feet on the ground. However, when it's summer, I will be able to do those things. So that was more of like, I chose to listen to this at the wrong time of year maybe. So definitely think about the time of year and how cold it is outside, because at the moment I'm not going out there. Overall, I really enjoyed this book. I got so much out of it. I really enjoyed reading it, listening to it while I knitted. I'm knitting myself a shawl. It'll be finished just in time for summer probably, but I always wanted a shawl and I'm knitting it, so go me. But I really enjoyed listening to this while knitting. It was such good fun, and it was nice to be able to just relax and chill out and not feel like I was wasting time, because I was learning while I was resting, which felt really good. So I definitely will be listening to more books rather than reading books in future, I think. So I really hope that you enjoyed this little review that I've done for you. If you did, don't forget to head down there and leave me a cheeky little like so I know that you like this content. I really enjoy this. It gets me reading more. It gets me actually taking some time out and just concentrating, doing the thing. So I hope you're enjoying it. So if you enjoyed this, definitely let me know. Head down there to the comments section, leave me a little comment if there's anything you'd like me to review, any books that you'd like me to try out, if there's anything that you would love me to talk more about, just let me know down there, because I love chatting to you guys. You make me so happy, and I love getting to know you all. So don't forget to head down there and leave me a comment. And while you're down there, why not hit that old subscribe button? I know you guys probably get sick of us asking you to hit subscribe, but honestly at the moment I am just trying so hard to get to 1,000 subscribers, and I would love it if you join the family here. So if you enjoy this kind of content along with disability and vintage fashion, why not join the family? Hit that little subscribe button, ring that little bell so you always know when I upload. I'm usually here Mondays and Fridays, my health permitting. Don't forget, down in the description will be a link to get this book yourself if you want to read it. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I really wish you a really lovely week ahead. I hope you're having a great day today, and I will see you next time. Bye.